When we met, he was a Navy SEAL. He did 3 deployments. He went to Iraq twice and to Yemen. He went back to San Diego, California, and that's where he was stationed as a Navy SEAL. We lived there for 6 years, and then we moved back for him to work back down in Fayetteville. The night of the accident, he went out to dinner with his buddy. They were on their way home 2 miles from our house. There was a crash. In the middle of the night, I got a phone call from a random number. And so I answered it. It felt like the longest phone call in my whole entire life. They said he was unresponsive, that I needed to get to the hospital right away. I didn't know what injuries he had. They just said, you need to get here. When I got there, he just looked like he was sleeping, but he had a diffusal axon injury where his whole brain shook. It wasn't just the brain, but it was the brain stem. Mostly when people have shearing in their brain stem, they won't wake up. So at that point, our prognosis was, he might just never wake up, never anything. I just knew it wasn't the end. I actually whispered in his ear, honey, if it's too much and if you're in too much pain, it's okay if you have to go. But if you're gonna stay around, we're gonna fight. So and he's a fighter, right? But once he woke up, he became extremely agitated, which is very common. His agitation got to the point that they wanted to put him in a facility and just leave him there and said, this is what it's gonna be.
We first started working with John Grant about a year and a half ago. And he was a referral from a good friend of mine, Dr. Kyle Daigle, who understood that we do the intensive work. We saw initially, number one, that the ability to help John and Laura along their path, but two, the incredible fight and drive inside of John and Laura. I've never seen anything like it, and when I see those things, it's just a recipe for success when you're dealing with people that are so committed to their health and constantly moving forward and not going backwards.
So the first day we came to Apex, it was like somebody was on my team to help him, giving me hope. We just did a lot of testing, looking at the eyes particularly, seeing the tracking, seeing how the eyes were connecting to the brain. From the eyes, we could tell what part of the brain was firing and not firing and the imbalances there. He did some scans of the brain as well, just all sorts of different neuro testing, just to kind of get an overview of John.
One of the biggest obstacles to recovery for John, and when I say recovery, primarily being able to get him up under his own power on his own 2 feet. So the eyes play very heavily into our ability to maintain balance. So the fact is his brain is perceiving movement all of the time when it's not there. And you could imagine if you've had vertigo or something like that, it's not comfortable. It doesn't serve you walking well or balancing well, and people fall and they hit their heads. So if we can start to get better control with that, which is what we're seeing, we can eventually have more stability on 2 feet. So that's really our biggest goal this time working with John is calming down some of those eye movements so he can have better balance and better gait and better stability and more importantly, greater safety so there's not a fall and potentially another hit to the head.
When we finally found these resources, it was like a burden was lifted off of me because I knew in my heart that it was like I was searching for the tools. I said, I just need something that doesn't require him to do anything. And that's when we got introduced to the laser therapy.
We take sunlight and we convert it into units of energy. What we're doing is we're driving photons into the body, and we're allowing the mitochondria or energy producers of the cells to simply produce more energy, produce energy more effectively. Now, this is really, really important for someone who's had something like a brain injury. They can't produce energy effectively. So at the very basic of levels, we're improving metabolic capacity, allowing people to do more. And we find therapies like low-level laser and hyperbaric really complement a lot of the physical-based therapies we do.
Oh man, we love hyperbaric. It really helps restore, helps with the inflammation, helps with his gut, because the brain to gut connection. And it helped with the agitation as well, because we got to think of the inflammation on the brain, which hyperbaric helps with.
With the oxygen and the light therapies like hyperbaric and laser therapies, people simply can start doing more. What sets us apart at Apex is, number one, the immersive or intensive nature of our programs. The frequency and intensity of a stimulation is what dictates if the brain learns or not.
I would say functional neurology has definitely saved his life. I mean, if we had not gone down this route, we would have been in agitation, and I just don't know how long he would have lasted like that.
The partnership between John and Laura is incredible. Now, John comes from a very strong military background as a Navy SEAL. There's fight built into individuals like that, and that is still there. That's never left him. But you couple that now with the faith, compassion, caring, and all that he has with the unit around him, primarily being Laura, it's unstoppable. It's absolutely unstoppable.
Everyone here at Apex is just, they feel like family to us.
What I feel.
How do you feel? How do you feel? Your left feels weird, I know. His ability to acknowledge how it feels. 2 years ago, he wouldn't respond. There was no interaction, but now he's able to describe what it feels like. That's huge. That's communication. So those kind of things we take for granted, you and I, but to him, he's able to communicate, hey, I have pain, hey, I need this, hey, I need that. That's really huge.
So as far as for the future with John, I am very hopeful that he will be on 2 feet walking at some point in his life. And I think that's a very realistic expectation.
For our future, just to continue to heal and give him the tools to go forward, finding joy in what we have. He wants 2 children. How many? Maybe.
6. No,
6.
My parents, 2.
Yeah, 2's good. Maybe kids, who knows what the future holds, but I'm just keeping it open for any possibilities and just whatever our life brings us.